Covenant was a conglomeration of multiple species, all who believed in a single unified religion. The various races, either recognized as full-fledged members of the Covenant or as part of the Covenant fringe, were often converted by means of force. Today, we'll examine why the Covenant Empire chose to wage full-scale war against humanity, rather than trying to add them to their ranks. So, to answer this question, I think it's important first to understand the origins of humanity in the Halo universe. Humans were created alongside the Forerunners by the ancient precursors. After their creation, the precursors deemed the Forerunner unworthy of the mantle of responsibility, which is the guardianship over life in the galaxy, and instead deemed humanity to be the next in line for testing. In response, the Forerunners waged war against their creators, claiming the mantle for themselves. Fast forward millions of years later, and humanity and the Forerunners would end up in their own war, which saw humanity defeated and devolved. Fast forward some time, and the Forerunners are losing their war against the Flood parasite. They activated the Galaxy Cleansing Halo Array, and, recognizing their failure, agreed that humanity would be the reclaimers of the mantle of responsibility. While they did imprint them with what they would need to fulfill their journey, the Forerunners decided that it would be best if they did not directly interfere in the growth of humanity, and thus let them evolve on their own. About 100,000 years later, humanity would discover slip space by themselves and settle over 800 colonies across the galaxy. The Covenant, who had also founded an interstellar empire, had developed a religion focused on finding a way to reach the Great Journey. The Covenant believed that the Forerunners utilized the Halo rings to undertake this great journey, which transformed them into gods. They searched across the galaxy for Forerunner artifacts using a device known as the Luminary. During their first contact with humanity on the planet Harvest, the Luminary revealed an incredible amount of glyphs planetside, indicating the presence of some Forerunner artifact. While this first interaction was initially peaceful, it quickly turned sour as fighting broke out between the two factions. Still, at this point, it's likely that war could have been averted. Nonetheless, the Covenant believed that humanity was in possession of Forerunner relics and sought to recover them, of course violently, if need be. But let's back up a bit and look at the structure of the Covenant itself. The Covenant divided time into different eras, known as ages. Upon first contact with humanity, it was the 23rd Age of Doubt, an age marked by a loss of faith and internal dissent, partially because of various scandals involving the ruling hierarchs of that age. On High Charity, the Covenant Holy City, Tu Sanshayum, the Minister of Fortitude and the Vice Minister of Tranquility, saw the potential to use the discovery of new Forerunner artifacts to stage a political coup. However, to do so, they would need the blessing of the Oracle, or more specifically, the Philologist, another Sanshayum, who purported to represent the Oracle. The Oracle, which in reality was a dormant Forerunner AI on the Dreadnought which powered High Charity, reactivated from its dormancy upon receiving data from the glyphs on Harvest. The Oracle was not just any Forerunner AI, it was Mendicant Bias, the Forerunner Ancilla who defected to the Flood only to be recaptured and set on a path of atonement. Mendicant Bias revealed to the three Covenant that they had been misunderstanding the symbols. The relics that were observed were not something buried on the planet or hidden, rather they were actually humans themselves. The Oracle referred to these humans as Reclaimers. The three prophets incorrectly believed that this meant humanity was actually Forerunners themselves. A discovery of this magnitude was an existential threat to the Covenant hegemony itself and to the core tenets of its religion. If there were still Forerunners in the galaxy, that meant that not everyone had ascended to godhood after the Great Journey, and that some who had walked the holy path had been left behind. The three Sanshayum would subsequently ascend to become the new hierarchs of the Covenant, the prophets of truth, regret, and mercy, who would declare holy war upon humanity, branding them as heretics, and trying to exterminate them to the very last. Again, all to hide what they considered to be a major threat to their religion and thus the stability of the Empire. And this is why no human was ever allowed to join the Covenant during the war. As the years went by, even some Sangheili would come to ask themselves the very question we answered today. Why was humanity, who was fighting back nobly, not even considered for membership? For this, the Prophet of Truth sought out to replace the elites with the unquestioning and less intelligent brutes. an act which would help in fracturing the Covenant Empire and ending the Human Covenant War itself. And that's the story, which leads me to asking you guys, had humanity been allowed to join the Covenant Empire, what do you think their response would have been? Let me know all of that and more down in the comments. Today's question of the day comes from Zachary, who asks how I imagine the New Republic Starhawk, and he's right. We really don't know much about it, other than that it's vaguely shaped like a hatchet, and largely made from parts recycled from Star Destroyers. Good news is, once we're finished with our Versus short film, EC Henry and I plan to take a closer look at the Starhawk and design our own fan-made model. So until then, I'll just tell you, hold on and see. Anyway guys, you can ask your own questions with the hashtag AskEck. As I said yesterday, sometimes if you lead the question with the hashtag, YouTube catches it in the spam filter. So I encourage you to put the hashtag at the end. Anyway, until next time guys, this has been EckhartsLadder. May the Force be with you.